Hey guys, I want to take a second to thank Comfort Pro. Since 2001, Comfort Pro has been helping customers stay comfortable where they live, work, and play. They stand behind their work with a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. They have 24/7 emergency service, and if you mention the show, you receive a free watchdog maintenance plan for 1 year. Call Comfort Pro at 484-917-1803. 484-917-1803. That's Comfort Pro.
From real estate
Affects the market as a whole, which then sometimes will affect the tenant.
Right. You know, come in.
to real life.
We all learn in different ways. If you think about it, Wayne Dyer might not attract everybody.
And everything in between.
The mission was really to help people just to reach their full potential.
The Brad Weisman Show. And now, your host, Brad Weisman.
All right, we are back. Thanks for joining us every single Thursday at 7 p.m. We are much appreciative, right, Hugo?
That's right.
That's right. We're very appreciative of that. And I know there's a lot of things you have to do with your time out there. And the fact that you listen to this show, whether it's in your car or watching it on YouTube or wherever you are seeing the show or hearing the show, we appreciate it. We also appreciate our sponsors. We've got First Response Contracting with John Sellers, 484-256-7136, and Comfort Pro, the HVAC company, 610-477-5512. So we have another great guest.
All right. I'm excited.
Yeah, you should be.
I know. I read about him.
You read about him? That's good.
Yes.
And this guy here, we're not doing as much about real estate anymore, but when I see somebody that kind of just stands out, that has done an amazing job of, succeeding in the real estate realm, and also about mindset, talks about mindset and those things, gets deeper than just the real estate part of it. And one of the things that really hit me is that one of the things it says is he lost $50 million in 2008.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And it hit home because my real estate in 2008 was absolutely terrible. So I was like, you know what? This guy he knows what's going on. He knows real estate. And I wanted to bring him on. His name is Rod Khleif. What's going on, Rod?
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, brother. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, and you're from Sarasota. You still in Sarasota?
Yes, sir. I'm still in Sarasota. Yeah, I've got a home here, and I have a home in Miami as well, because I'm single now, and Sarasota's a singles wasteland. So I go to Miami on the weekends.
That's fun.
Now you know what? That's just worth the show right there. That was good. So you're still right, because Sarasota is a little bit more laid back and
beautiful here, but oh, good God, not a place. I'm usually the youngest person by 20 years in most restaurants, and I just turned 66. So that tells you something.
Oh my gosh, that's great. You know what though? Florida's awesome. My parents are actually down there right now. It's just a great state. The weather's amazing. And how is the weather right now? Because up here it stinks.
I could literally be a poster child for the Florida Chamber of Commerce. I love it. I mean, I got two homes here. Hello.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, I freaking love it. Weather, it's cool today, but I mean, I've still got shorts and flip flops on. So
yeah, all right.
Cool is relative.
Yeah.
You become a real puss when you live here for a while. So 70 is a little chilly. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They start when we go down there. We have family that lives in Tampa, and I always joke around when we get down there and we're hanging out with family, and it's like, it's 65 degrees at night, and they're putting like parkas on. They look like they're from Alaska.
Like the fireplace, baby.
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, this is unbelievable. I'm ready to like put shorts and flip flops on. But no, it's a great state, and we're glad to have you down there. And hey, what do you like better though, the West Coast or East Coast?
Florida? Well, it depends. I mean, I love the energy of Miami. I just walk down the street and I love the energy. But I mean, I have a compound on the water here, 6 buildings. I'm in the video studio in one of the buildings now, and I'm just super blessed. I mean, it's very zen and peaceful. 2 acres on the water, but
wow, that's a nice spot.
It's slow as hell. It's so freaking slow. So I go back and forth every week, and it works nice. I got a studio in my condo in Miami as well, so it's working really well. I started doing Saturday trainings for a few hours on Saturday. So I just converted my dining room to a really nice video studio there. So that's
awesome. It's amazing how we can do this from anywhere, right?
Right.
It's just incredible technology and everything. So let's dig into, the one thing that you're known for is multifamily investments. I mean, you coach on this.
Training. I teach it.
Yeah, you coach on it. You train on it. And
so I've got the largest real estate podcast really in the world at this point for commercial real estate, which just blows my mind. And, my students, I'll brag for a second. My students now own upwards, I think, of 300,000 units under my tutelage, which is really more than all my other competitors combined. And it's because of the mindset. It's because I teach mindset. They actually freaking take action with what they learn. So it's such a blessing. Honestly, it just blows my mind when I see these numbers climb.
Yeah, it's a great. How do you do the training? Are you doing one-on-one or is this group training?
No,
how does that work?
Yes, all the above. All the above. So my podcast, is really informative.
Yeah, I watched several episodes.
Cash flow. Oh, thank you. Yep. So there's that. And then I do boot camps every really month and a half. They're virtual. They're 2 days right here in the studio. You can do them at home in your underwear. And I don't charge much. I charge like $47 for 2 days of training, and I don't sell anything there either. So it's just great. 2 days of training for $47. Now, listen, I give them an opportunity to look into my coaching program. Set up a call if you want, but I don't sell. And so that's pretty much it. I think the people on this planet that add the most value are the most successful, and I focus on adding as much value as I absolutely can. And and we try to change it up as much as we can. But if they get into my coaching program, then it's group coaching, it's one-on-one coaching, it's Q&As, it's a course like a college course over a 4-month period. It's pretty extraordinary. It's awesome. And we keep changing it. But anyway, I appreciate you letting me mention it.
Yeah, sure. But absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny. It used to motivate me to have the Lamborghini and the Rolls Royce and the Bentley and all this stupid stuff that, I used to think was important. But candidly, when I tell you, and this is going to sound again like I'm bragging, but I'm not, or it's going to sound like I'm full of it, but I'm not. I get so much pleasure from, I literally get love every single day at this point. I get gifts, I get cards, I get emails. It just blows my mind. DMs. Now I get hate every day too. Don't get me wrong. No one should have owned 800 houses. You're the reason I can't buy a house. No,
give me a break. That's such BS.
Yeah, because you don't get out of your mom's basement. It's the reason you can't get out.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I agree with that. What's funny? In this country, if you can't figure shit out, there's something wrong.
Please. Exactly. My God, we live in the greatest country on earth.
Yes.
Just go out there and do it. It's funny. It's funny with my students. They're not the smartest ones that are successful. They're not the ones that started with money. They're not the ones that live in the biggest towns. They're the ones that basically change their story and then they just go take massive freaking action. Yeah. Those are the ones that succeed, period. And I see it all the time. Everybody's got a story for why they're not successful, like the people that hate on me online. I literally every day I get it, but much more love, by the way, thank God. But it's the people that change that story or get rid of that old story that's holding them back. Because people have stories, they're like circuit breakers, they keep them from taking action. And it's the people that change that story and just go do it that are successful.
Amen. Right? I agree 100%. Yeah, and it's funny because the people that put the energy on hate, that what you put out comes back, and it just doesn't work. Whatever you focus on grows. You got that. Yeah, that's
positive,
pretty much
positive or negative.
Yeah. And that's been that way for thousands of years. It hasn't changed.
I get people that call me and say, "Hey, how do I get out of student loan debt?" I'm like, wrong question. How do you make so much money that debt's irrelevant is the question you want to be asking. They asked Mother Teresa if she was anti-war. She said, "No, I'm pro-peace."
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right? Yep.
Whatever you focus on gets bigger.
Yep. Yeah. Be for something, not against it. So true. So true. Right. So let's go back a little bit because, the intriguing thing, when I look to see somebody that's going to be on the show, I look to see, where they came from, what they've been through. I always feel like the setbacks are always more important than the successes because those are really the things that make a person. Yeah, I think you're agreeing with that.
No question. No, I'm putting my finger up because I'll tell you, when I do my boot camps, I have panelists come on. They're always my students. Sometimes I have 3 or 4 billion literally represented by my students on stage to answer questions. But I always try to ask the question, and I call them seminars, by the way, when it's not a failure unless you don't get back up or get the lesson. So that was a $50 million seminar. That was an expensive freaking seminar. Don't get me wrong. But so I asked the question of my panelists, my students, tell me about a seminar, what you learned, because I believe you learn more from that. And so I make that a real piece in my boot camps to bring that up. But it wasn't any fun. It sucked, but that's how you grow. By the way, I've built 29 businesses so far in my career. I was blown away when I counted a few years ago, and several worth tens of millions of dollars. I've got 2 right now that are. However, most of them were spectacular flaming seminars. Okay. We fail our way to success.
Yep,
I tell people, don't fear failure, fear regret. Fear being in the same freaking place you are right now 2 or 3 years from now, unless you absolutely love where you are right now. Yeah. That's what you want to fear.
Yeah, it's funny because what you say about 2008 is I lost my ass in 2008 also. I've been in real estate my whole life and ended up having to sell a lot of things. And thank God I had the stuff to sell to keep moving forward and not losing my house. You were
able to get out. Thank God you were able to get out.
Yeah, it was because I owned a bunch of real estate and got out. Wow. But what I always say, it is, when you say seminars, it's funny, I use the term college. I never went to college, but in 2008, I went for my master's degree. in life sucking. I got my master's degree. They have my master's degree.
I have a PhD in hard knocks. Brother.
Yeah, you got that right. So I get it.
I used to tell people I have a PhD in results. That was like my braggadocious comment there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you lost $50 million, you said, in 2008. And one of the things that stuck out to me, you said you rebuilt your portfolio and your purpose. That to me actually sticks out more than the portfolio, because I think the purpose part is more important than the portfolio.
I agree completely. I never thought I'd be a teacher. My father was a PhD professor, taught at Columbia and Harvard, and I never thought I'd be a teacher. But, when I lost everything, I started my podcast, and because a friend of mine said, hey, we should podcast. I'm like, I don't want to talk into a phone, because that's how you did it back then, video. Yeah. And then finally I did it. And early episodes, I'm like, I'm never going to sell you anything. I just want to add value. And that was the truth. And I used to take free phone calls from my listeners. And now I'm a liar because I freaking sell everything, but you want to make God laugh. You tell him your plans, right? But I never intended to, and it just got a kind of a life of its own, and so people were asking me, hey, you should do something with this, and so I wrote a book. I've got this best-selling book. I give it away. It's on Amazon, but I've given away tens of thousands of copies. You can pay like $6 and get the physical copy. And people are like, oh, you make money on that? No, it cost me an extra $30 to send it to you. I just hope you consider my boot camp or coaching, which is why I do it. But I give it away. And cool. So I did that first, and then people are like, do a course, and then it just mushroomed into and again, I'm blessed to say our program literally is the largest by student success than everybody else combined.
And why do you think? Everybody. I mean, because there's a ton of them out there. Why do you think?
Because they do it. Because they do it, because it's mindset and psychology. Like if you come to one of my boot camps, the first thing we do is goal setting on steroids. How do you get anything if you don't know what it is? You got to know what it is you want, and more importantly, why you want it. You got to create that burning desire or that hunger. And so that's the first thing we do is goal setting. And by the way, if you're listening and you haven't done your goals, you should be doing it like 3 times a year at least. People spend more time planning a freaking birthday party, Christmas party, than they do designing their lives. Doing your goals is designing your life. And I do it. I did a goal setting workshop. If you go to rodsgoals.com, it's my workshop. There's a free guide you can download. I'm not going to try to sell you anything, but go do your goals. Have your spouse do it. If your kid's over 10 years old, have them do it. It's about an hour. You'll leave so motivated, you'll be coming out of your skin. Have them design their lives, design your life. Super important. So, it starts with goals. And that's what I did when I lost everything, is I reassociated with my goals. It's the same thing you would do to get started. And so it starts with goals, and then you got to make a decision. Then you got to, and I don't mean dip your toe in the water. I mean, it's done when you make that decision. You commit, and you're committed, and then you got to take that first step, and I get a lot of analytical people that want to get into what I do, and it's a lot of numbers, so it's great for them. But and you know who you are if you're listening, how you have to check off every single box before you make a move. You can't do that. No. Like Dr. Martin Luther King said, you take that first step in faith, the next step will be revealed. But you got to take that step. And
so true.
A lot of people get locked in analysis paralysis. I see it with my students all the time. I call it the law of the first deal. It's the scariest. It's the hardest. It takes the longest. They're 4 months in, 5 months in, 6 months in. I'm kicking them in the butt. You got this. Keep going, keep going. Then they get one. The next thing I know, they have 3. I'm like, what just happened? Right. But you got to take that first step. And a lot of analytical people, a lot of people, period, fear failure. Yes. And like I said, I just talked about failure. I've had, I call them seminars. I've had scores of them. But the thing to remember is fear, regret much more. And I'm sure you'll agree with me on this, Brad.
Absolutely.
I mean, there was this nurse in Australia named Bronnie Ware. She was a hospice nurse, and she took care of patients when they were about to die. And she asked them a question. She said, do you have any regrets? And she wrote a book about it. It's like a bestseller, something like The 5 Regrets of Dying.
Yep.
Yeah. And the number one regret is not living the life I could have lived, living someone else's life, not doing what I know I'm capable of. Fear that.
Yeah.
Don't fear failure. You can get up from failure, but regret, oof, at the end of your life, my God, nothing worse than that as far as I'm concerned.
I agree with that 100%. Ed Milet talks about that a lot.
Does he?
Yeah, he does talk about that a lot. And I agree with you on that. You know, the interesting thing too is when you talk about losing the 50 million, the good part about when you lose money is that if you're the one that made it, you know how to do it again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's easier, much faster.
Yeah.
And I recovered from it. I mean, it sucked. I'm sorry.
You could say suck. It's fine.
I know your kids listen to this. Yeah. I mean, it was no freaking fun. Okay. But you know, that's how you learn. That's how you grow. I mean, and it makes you stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And so, you know, but it was no fun for a while. I was hiding underneath a rock. And again, the first thing I did, reassociate with my goals, make a decision. Enough is enough. Get started. Take that first step. I built a litigation support company out of the ashes of that. Turned into about a $10 million company that I sold a few years back. But you know, a lot of people have limiting beliefs. And I'll share something with you. When I immigrated, I didn't speak English. And
where are you from? Where'd you come from?
I was born in the Netherlands. You know, wooden shoes, windmills.
Yes, I've been there. I was there.
So I got thrown into school. I didn't speak English. Found out what bullies were for the first time. So I got my butt kicked occasionally. Then my mom, proud Dutch woman that she is, thought it'd be a great idea to send me to school in these wooden shoes. These are the actual freaking wooden shoes. Okay. And
any blisters?
Shorts. And these leather shorts the Germans wear.
Oh my gosh.
So I got my ass.
Did you get beat up big time? Yes.
And the bullies would chase me home, and she'd chase them off with a fly swatter. Next day, ass beaten. And I came up with this belief system that I wasn't good enough. And a lot of people have these limiting belief systems. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not young enough, old enough. I'm not analytical enough. That was another one of mine. But here's the thing. There's a reason the acronym for belief systems is BS, because 99% of them are BS, but we believe they're real. I mean, I used to be afraid to raise my hand in front of 10 kids in a classroom, and now I speak in front of thousands of people a year, literally in flip-flops typically. Yeah. So, you know, if you're listening and you've got one of these belief systems that you're consciously aware of, drag it out into the daylight. Look at it with your adult rational mind. Recognize that it's BS, and it will dissipate, I promise you. Yeah. Okay, but you got to pull it out consciously. Super important.
No, I agree with you. No, that's funny. You're from the Netherlands. That cracks me up. Yeah. And the wooden shoes, that's really funny. Didn't you get blisters from wearing those things? I don't understand it.
Yeah. You wear thick socks. I mean, they still wear them in Holland. You know, they walk through the mud in them. But oh my God, that was like crack cocaine for the bullies. Oh, good Lord.
That's great. You know, one of the other things too that I thought was really cool that I saw and it caught my eye was that, you know, in 2001, you also started a foundation. The tiny hands. You want to end with that? Okay, we'll end with that.
End with that because I've got a really good story about that I'd love to share. Yeah, that's compelling for anybody that wants success. So if you want success, stay to the end of this because it's a big piece of the success. That's
a good. We'll hit that then.
Yeah.
So then let's go into the book. I mean, how long ago did you write the book?
Oh, I wrote it literally once people were asking for information. You know, I took those free phone calls. I did hundreds of free 30-minute phone calls. I didn't have anything to sell. I just wanted to add value. You know, again, the people that are the most successful in the world, the ones that add the most value. Look at Jeff Bezos, look at Elon, and, you know, they add the most value. But here's the thing. I want to mention a couple quick things as it relates to the strategies I used when I lost everything, because they tie into the ones you want to use to get started. Play to your strengths is one of them. Okay. Don't try to build your weaknesses. In my business, in the commercial real estate business, and I don't just teach apartments anymore. We do senior housing. I'm buying assisted living facilities. We do student housing, self-storage, mobile home parks, retail, mixed use, you name it. You want to play to your strengths, and it's a team sport. So there's lots of different hats you can wear. You could be the one that finds the deals. You could be the one that underwrites them. Maybe you're analytical. Maybe you could be the mouthpiece like Rod, like me, where you're building relationships with investors and brokers and sellers and so on and so forth. You know, you could be the project manager, the asset manager after you buy the property. So there's a lot of places, but build your strengths. Hire, align, or partner for your weaknesses. Why? Because when you're playing to your strengths, you love what you do. Some of the best partnerships I see in this business are an analytical introverted person with an extroverted outgoing person, because you need both pieces. And so, you know, play to your strengths, hire, align, or partner for your weaknesses. And the key is don't live someone else's life. So when you're doing that, you know you love it and you never work another day in your life because you're playing to your strengths and you're going to be passionate about it. And passion's required influence. Because when you love what you do, you're passionate, right? And so, you know, and you've got to influence people. And so, do what you do, operate from that passion. And when you have that passion, it enhances your ability to influence, but it's the fuel. You're not playing small. It breeds creativity, innovation, and minimizes or even eliminates fear.
Yeah, and passion attracts people. It attracts people.
Yeah, sure it does.
That want to be around you. They want to get the energy that you have, and all those things. And
that's another piece. You want to be around people that want more out of life. Yeah. I'll tell you who you show me your 3 best friends. I'll show you who you are in every aspect of your life. Your health, your happiness, your relationships, definitely your finances. And a lot of people default to people they went to school with or that they work with. And those people might have their own limiting beliefs and fear. Okay. And sometimes it's family. I'm going to tell you, and I'll tell you something. When I was losing everything in 2008 and 9, I was in Tony Robbins' Platinum Partnership, high-level mastermind. It was like over $100,000 at that time. And I was around people that were killing it, okay? They were thriving in that crash. And they're like, get up, you puss, 50 million, schmillion, go make something happen. That's who you want to be around when the proverbial, what hits the fan. And so, be very, very careful who you allow to influence you. And sometimes it's family, like I said, and I will tell you, love your family, but proactively choose, your peers.
Yeah, no, that's important. Yeah. Your environment, is who you hang out with, and you'll become a product of it if it's not the right environment.
That's it.
And it's not good. No, I agree with you there. So what do you said you specialize in a lot of different things, but your big thing is multi-units. Is that right? Hi, this is Brad Weisman. Come back here every Thursday at 7 p.m. to watch the Brad Weisman Show. We have new guests every single week, and we love having you as an audience. All right, we'll see you soon.
Well, that's where I started. I've kind of, just very recently got into senior housing, and I'm looking at other asset classes. But yeah, I own thousands of apartment units, and my students, like I said, own upwards of 300. We're counting. We're at 270,000 that we're counting, and we know we're missing a ton. So I'm guessing it's up to 300,000. And so. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic mechanism. People think that, they see an apartment complex and they think one wealthy guy owns it. No, it's people put together a group of investors and they go out and buy it. My students have raised hundreds of millions of dollars for these things. And, and it's a little scary at first, but once you learn it, it's not. Yeah. And candidly, the same strategies that we teach at my boot camps, I do one about every month and a half, are the ones you'd use to buy these other types of commercial real estate as well. Now, I've owned 2,000 houses, okay, that I've rented long-term, and I'll never own another house unless it's a 3rd, 4th, 5th place for me. So that should tell you something, okay? Because multifamily is much easier. When I lost everything in 2008, I had 800 houses and I had several apartment complexes. It was the houses that pulled me down. Okay?
Why is that? Why was it the houses? What's the difference? Let me
explain. Yeah, and I was only at a 30% loan to value. Okay. Wow. I only owed 30 cents on the dollar because I get hate all the time. Well, you were over leveraged. No, I was not. Okay. So here's why. So first of all, they were 2 hours north of me and 2 hours south of me, up and down the Gulf Coast of Florida. Okay. Now that was a problem, and I'll explain why in a second. But Florida has no state income tax, so property taxes are a little higher. Yep. I had properties in wind and flood zones, insurance, like flood and wind insurance. So those things impact cash flow in a big way. Yeah. These were C-class houses. There's A, B, C, and D. A's the new stuff. D's the hood. Stay out of the hood. Ask me how I know. Okay, no, that's another topic. But these were C-class houses. Older properties, tougher demographic, tougher tenants. And so a lot more maintenance. The maintenance killed me. I never really cash flowed. Okay. I broke even barely, but because of the maintenance. So let's say I had to send somebody to one of my apartment complexes. We could stockpile parts, plumbing parts, electrical parts, window locks, door locks, HVAC parts, you name it. And they could be in and out in an hour, a maintenance guy in and out in an hour. Well, if I had to send someone to an hour away to one of my houses, you can't stockpile parts for every house. So they got to go see what's wrong. Yep. They go find a Home Depot or Lowe's, which would be another hour round trip. I don't know about you, Brad, but when Rod's happy rear end tries to go and fix something, he ends up going to Home Depot or Lowe's more than once. And the same thing with maintenance guys. So what took an hour at one of my apartment complexes took all day at one of my 800 houses. And that killed me. But the last thing was I didn't pay attention to tenant demographics back then. And afterwards, I discovered I had a ton of contractors in my houses. They had good credit and jobs and everything when I brought them in, but that work fell off a cliff. Painters, electricians, drywall drywallers, roofers, you name it. And that work fell off a cliff in 2009. So they didn't have work. So
you have basically all the same kind of clients losing their jobs at the same time.
Yep. Yeah. And I had retail and jobbers, contractors, plumbers, electricians, drywallers, all that. Yeah. And so that was everything at a high level that went wrong. And
so that's incredible.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear.
I was at a 30% loan to value. By the end of 2009, my portfolio was upside down. It dropped more than 70%. Yeah.
See, and that's Florida for you, though. I mean,
Florida, California, Nevada, all those states got killed in that crash.
You got that right.
Major price reductions. And I'll tell you, we're seeing them again.
Well, because Florida's interesting. I just because I've done real estate for 33 years, residential, right? And it's funny. I watch and I study all the numbers across the country, and Florida is an interesting one where I call it the building machine. You guys have the ability to turn on or off new construction like that, but the problem is it doesn't turn off as fast as it needs to.
No,
because what happens? All the builders start building.
Right now we're overbuilt. We're overbuilt for apartments right now. Rents went up 30% in the Tampa MSA, Tampa Metropolitan Statistical Area. 30%. I forgot if it was 22 or 23. 23, I think. 30%. I mean, just think about that kind of an increase. You're paying $1,000. Now you got to pay $1,300. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But anyway, now, of course, it's dropped back down. But
you don't think you're going to see 2008 again, though? I wouldn't see.
No.
That's a totally different situation.
I don't at all. Now we're seeing a meltdown in multifamily because operators got that adjustable rate debt in there. I mean, my attorney, I just had a call with him last night. He had 6 foreclosures that he's apartment complexes that he was dealing with 6 clients last week.
Do you think that's really hit yet or no? We talked about this about a year and a half ago.
It hasn't hit yet. It's coming. Trust me, it's coming. You're going to see properties go up for auction. I'll give you an example. I've got an asset in San Antonio. We call them assets. It's an apartment complex, 200 units. Right next door is a 300 unit. It sold for $43 million like 3 years ago. It's with the bank now. It's down to 28. Wow. I'd love to buy it, but we're not interested unless it gets down to 24. 43 to 24.
Wow.
So that's what's happening already. So the deals are coming. I mean, if there's ever a time to get in this business right freaking now, if you're interested, get your butt to my boot camp.
And that's because a lot of these low interest rates are expiring, right?
Well, no, it's more than that. There's this debt wall. Okay. It's like $1 trillion in commercial debt coming due. And there's a lot of people that got adjustable rate debt, which they couldn't hold on. And see, here's the thing. When debt comes due, it's not like a 30-year mortgage in a house. In commercial real estate, there's a balloon payment that is to put it in residential terms. We don't call it that in our world, but that's what it is. And you either have to sell or you have to refinance. Yep. Sales are down about 80-90% right now. So you're not selling. Refinancing, you have to meet debt service coverage requirements. And with the interest rates where they still are, they don't. So we're seeing a lot of distress. But I mean, okay, but here's the thing. I don't want to scare you. I want to get you excited because with crisis comes opportunity.
Oh, it's absolutely opportunity.
I got crushed by that wave in 2008. I'm surfing this one, baby.
Now you're ready. You're ready.
Right. Exactly.
Surfboard's all waxed up. You're ready to go, right?
That's it, man. I mean, hit me once, shame on you. Hit me twice, it's Rod's own fault,
Exactly. But, well, you know what? We are going to.
Let me share one other thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about something. I also want to talk about the contribution piece because it's really important. But I want to say something. I'm going to lose some of you on this. You're going to think, oh, he's in foo-foo land. But stay with me because this is how I had $50 million to lose and how I got it back. So you can ignore it at your peril. I want to talk about gratitude for a minute. Okay. Yeah. Gratitude is the most important foundational emotion we have available to us. Makes us stronger when we face adversity. Strengthens our immune system, makes our heart stronger, even lowers our blood pressure, brings us closer to our spirituality. But it's also how you manifest everything you want in life. And I'm sure you agree with me on this. 100%. You could call it prayer, whatever. But most mornings I'll sit in my recliner and I will just do gratitude for the people that I love in my life, my students, my family, the things that I have. But then I'll do gratitude for the things that I want as if I already have them. And I have gotten emotional with tears in my eyes, being grateful for things I don't even have yet. And I know I lost some of you on this, but this is how I had $50 million to lose and how I got it back. And so, I would highly encourage you to incorporate that into your life. Gratitude.
I love that.
It fixes everything. Yeah.
I love that. And Hugo, first time we've heard that.
That's right.
Hugo and I are big on gratitude. We've had discussions about it and all that and talk about, what it means for certain different people. But I've never heard it before. It's almost like forward forward gratitude. You're thanking.
Yeah. Well,
you're having gratitude for something
manifesting.
you haven't even gotten yet.
That's how you bring it into your life.
Right,
That's
right.
the way it works. You call it prayer if you like, but that's how it works. If you listen to, all these people that talk about manifesting and the movie The Secret, it's all about the law of attraction is as if you already have it. And there's even a clause in the Bible, and I don't know it, or I should learn it because I should use it. But there's one that basically says you want something, you act as if you have it. It's along those lines.
Oh, interesting.
But the other thing I wanted to mention, the last thing I want to mention, unless you've got a question.
No. You go ahead. It's going great.
So when I immigrated this country, I ended up in Denver, Colorado, and we didn't have much growing up. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I mean, I wore clothes in the Goodwill all the way through junior high school till I lied about my age at Burger King when I was 14, told them I was 15 and got a job so I get my own clothes. But I always knew I wanted to live on the beach, and there's no beach in Denver. It's in the middle of the country. But I would visualize it. I would visualize the palm trees, the surf, the sand. And this was when I was 18. 20 years later, I built this incredible mansion on the beach. I mean, I owned the beach on one side. It was about a $10 million. It's worth $10 million now. Beach on one side. I had my boats on the back side. It was a Gulf to Bay sliced through an island. Unthinkable when I was 18. Yeah. And I mean, to describe this, there was a giant waterfall from the second floor balcony into the pool. You had to walk through the waterfall to get to the pool. It was in magazines. Big spiral staircase up through the middle, wine cellar, elevator. On the second floor, I had aquariums built around the staircase that cost me almost $200,000. So this gives you an idea of the house. 2 months after I moved in, I worked for this thing for 20 years. 2 months after I moved in, I'm floating in my pool at night, and I'm looking at this testament to my ego. It was to prove to the freaking world I was good enough. I mean, if that didn't do it, forget it. You know, my family's inside sleeping. I had all the toys, the Maserati, the Mercedes, and all the stupid shit I thought was important, boats, jet skis. And I'm looking up at this thing, and I got depressed. And I don't mean a little depressed. I mean, I was really depressed. I'm like, what the hell? I've just achieved success like times 10,000. How could I be depressed? And this is what I want to share with your listeners. There were three things happening. One was you should never achieve a big goal without having other goals lined up behind it. Like the good book says, without a vision, the people perish. I didn't know what I was going to do next. So that was one piece. Second piece was happiness comes from progress and growth. It's never about the goals. You know, they say the happiest days of a boat owner's life, the day they buy the boat, the day they sell the boat. You need the goals to create that burning desire, but it's never about that. Happiness comes from progress and growth. And if you do my goal setting workshop, at the end of it, the one that's Rod's goals is my weekly planning process. And part of that process is to celebrate anything you did, acknowledge it, because even if you have slowdowns or setbacks, you'll still be happy because you're progressing. Yeah. But the big thing that was happening, the third thing, was I was totally focused on me. Rod, show the world I matter, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's the year I met Tony Robbins. I went and saw him live, I don't know, it's about 26 years ago in Fort Lauderdale, and I saw that he fed families for the holidays. And I'm like, what a concept, do something for someone else. And I'm embarrassed to say I had to be 40 to get that memo. So I called my brother in Denver. I said, bro, let's feed 5 families, because I was flying out there for Thanksgiving. So he called his church, found 5 families who really needed help. We bought food and toys and everything. And the third family changed my life, Brad. We go up to this house. It was not even a 1-bedroom. And this woman was in there, Hispanic woman with 5 kids. She comes out, she sees the stuff on the porch, she starts crying. The kids come out, 2 of the older ones start crying. I start crying, and I was hooked. Yeah. Now, what I'm going to say next is not bragging. You need to listen, guys, if you're interested in success, because there's a real message here. Over the last 26 years, I've fed over 150,000 children in my area for the holidays. I've provided tens of at-risk kids that wouldn't have a holiday meal. I've provided tens of thousands of backpacks filled with school supplies to local kids that don't have the basic supplies for school. Don't get me started on that that business. And then I provided thousands and thousands of teddy bears to local police departments for officers to keep in their vehicles to bridge the gap with children if they're ever in a traumatic situation. Now, I bring this up because, you know, we've been taught to achieve to be happy. Tony Robbins calls it the science of achievement versus the art of fulfillment. Achievement's a science. If you want to learn commercial real estate, multifamily, get your ass to my boot camp, okay? I'll give you the blueprint and the map. You just got to go do it. But fulfillment is an art, okay? You got to figure out what juices you. For me, it's kids. It's also the elderly. Maybe for you, it's animals, the environment, whatever it is. Give back right now, okay? Don't say, well, you had money, that's why you gave back. You want the money? Give back. That's how you get the money. You know, I'll land the plane with this. I did a presentation for some of my warriors. I had 1,000 participants at a 3-day boot camp in Orlando, and I did a presentation. We called it the Hall of Fame Awards. There were like 15 warriors. Those are my coaching students. 15 warriors up on stage, and we did a slide for each one of them. And I started to notice every single one of them does something to give back. Schools in India, schools in Latin America, human trafficking, veteran suicide, veterans homelessness. And I looked at those 1,000 people and I pointed this to the deck and I said, that's what we call a freaking clue. Power moves to those who serve. So give back right now. If you don't have money, give of your time. Success will come faster. You don't do it for that reason, but that's why you do it.
No, man, that's great. Great stuff. No, and it's called, just so we can get out, the foundation's called Tiny Hands Foundation. Is that correct?
tinyhandsfoundation.org. Every dime goes to the food and the backpacks. I paid for it up until 2008 when I lost everything. In 2008, I spent $50,000 and fed 1,500 families and 3,500 kids. But up to at that point, I started taking donations.
No, and that's good. It makes it bigger. I mean, why not? You know what I mean? Plus, also, you're giving the opportunity for somebody else to feel what you feel.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
We get hundreds of volunteers. It's pretty extraordinary. And I hope, again, please guys know I wasn't bragging. This is such a critical piece of success.
I agree.
Power moves to those who serve.
I agree. And it's funny. I think it's something that we kind of learn as we get older, as we move along. I mean, it's not something that's always really evident, but you started doing it at 40, which to me, you sounded like you thought that was too old, but that's actually good. I mean, I think a lot of people don't get that at 40 years old.
Well, I'll tell you, I sometimes, I've interviewed some of the largest operators on the planet here in my studio in multifamily, 5,000, 10,000 units. And I can tell if they're where I was before that epiphany that I had. And I feel sorry for them because they may have financial success, but they're not truly successful. Yeah. And, they have to basically have that epiphany on their own.
The art of fulfillment. I love that. That's really cool. Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you so much for coming on. Well, great time talking to you. We'll probably have you on again sometime in the future.
I appreciate that. Can I just mention if they're interested in my boot camp?
Sure. Go ahead.
See that?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So go to rodslinks.com if you're interested in learning this business. Rods, plural, links.plural.com, or text links to 72345. There's a bunch of free resources there. My bootcamp site's there. It's $47. I don't sell anything, and it's 2 days of training. So there's no freaking excuses if you want to learn this. Okay, I make it so there's no excuses. But yeah, it's Rods Links. Thanks,
That's
brother.
awesome. Awesome, man. I appreciate it so much. We'll be talking to you real soon. All right. All right, there you have it. Rod Khleif, there in Sarasota, Florida. He's doing an amazing job. I mean, you definitely want to look him up. If you look up his name, it's spelled Khleif. You'll find him there. Plus, we're going to have it all over our social media, and you'll be able to find him there. So thanks again for listening every Thursday at 7 p.m. All right, that's about it. See you. Hey guys, if you're looking to buy or sell a house in Berks County or beyond, let me know. This is Brad Weisman from the Brad Weisman Show. You probably know I'm also a realtor, but I wanted to remind you, if you have any questions or you need anything, please give me a call, 484-256-5836. Thanks.